Hello, hello.
Hey,
We're back. It's late. We're back. Notice I said
yeah, we back.
I can't see that dance.
You gonna tell me hit the lights? You forgot that quick.
Hit them.
All right, let's get into it. It's late, but we here. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you back.
Thanks, you held it down nicely. Um, so
Thank you.
as always, how are you doing?
Well, we missed you last week. Let's start with that. But
Hmm.
nonetheless, well, not just we missed you. Like we miss you. Like you weren't here. But we did miss you. I'm sure they missed you. But I tried. I did my best. But you know, now we're back, and hopefully, I told him we had something different for him last time, but maybe we have something different for him for real now that you're back. So I
Hmm.
feel like we've been kind of, I don't know, we've entered like a new phase or stage of this, you know.
Wow.
So I'm not trying to overpromise anything here, but I do feel like what still, like I said last week, we got something different. I feel like it even holds more true now that you're back. So I don't know. We're gonna see what happens.
All right. I guess we will.
But yeah, my bad. I just wanted to.
No, that's great.
And for those of you, hung around, stuck around for the show last week for the episode, thank you and glad to have you back.
A. Yeah, I actually yeah, I listened to it and I was impressed.
I hope you would listen. This is just your show. Just because you didn't show for the show, don't mean it ain't your show.
Nah, it was good. It was inspiring to listen to.
True.
So
That's good.
that's what really makes me glad to be back because it's really like a challenge. Like, wow, I gotta stay consistent.
You
Yeah.
and you are. I mean, that's why it's a team, honestly. When you have a team, got each other to lean on to make it be known. It's not that you didn't, you know, completely just didn't show up. We made the best decision to do it the way we had to do it with the time we had. So, but at the end of the day, it got put out. We still are a team. The job got done. So,
I
I
know
didn't
that's
listen
right.
to it, but I know while I was doing it, it was different. I'm not used to that, but
Yeah.
despite the fact that I might run my mouth from time to time, I'm still not used to doing that for however long that was. But it was good. I just tried to almost just approach it, I guess, like you said, being inspiring or being inspired by listening to it. I tried to just I had to really consider what was on the other side potentially of as far as the listener and just put myself in that space while trying to speak to it and at the same time. It was different as opposed to we do the same thing with each other and the listeners, but
Yeah.
we have a little more time in between. We have no time in between.
That's true.
But I know people do it, but it was different.
Oh, and that's good. I mean, even if we're kind of going back real quick for
Yeah.
the previous episodes we dropped, I mean, as far as just being up for the challenge, or even if it is a challenge, if we look at it as an opportunity, you know, and willing to put ourselves in that,
Hmm.
then that's great. I mean, it's the quote unquote uncomfortable advantage.
Yeah.
So it's really like we have every opportunity to get stronger, get faster, get better,
Yeah.
instead of running from the situation, or coming up with a good reason on why we can have out. So
It's true. True. That's very true. So here we are. I think this will be number, I think, 17. No, we don't have to count everyone, but I mean they're definitely up there. When we put it up there, we put the number. But just saying that to say, I mean we're making some progress, and hopefully the listeners out there, hopefully y'all hear the progress and y'all are progressing with us. As we kind of just dive into some of these thoughts, these topics, and just try to, I guess, just peel back the layers. It might not happen quickly, but we're just really trying to consider, I guess, just these different elements of, you know, kind of on theme with our podcast too, like I guess the what do you say, tagline or whatever,
yeah.
just the dream element, like really what it takes to see, those things that sometimes we only consider in our minds or our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not gonna say that's what this is all about or only, but I feel like that's kind of like the heart and soul of it. Like it's late at night, we do this. That I don't know, we just came up with that. Is that in and of itself is a challenge. We don't prefer to do it at this time.
Yeah.
I think at this time we would probably be preferring to listen to someone else or even be asleep and listen to nothing.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's an element of like, just a quiet calm at
Mm-hmm.
this time that we can really just consider how we really feel, what we've been kind of thinking about. Like you always start off the question with, how am I feeling today or right now and I think we take that momentum as best we can into each episode. So number 17.
Here we go. Even though we been going. No, but seriously, okay, so how about I share what's on my mind? Um, I'm thinking about a, this term in my brain that I came up with. Not that it doesn't exist, but having an increased level of faith, um, so that you can continue to persevere in what you're doing. And it's funny because it's like how much to imply an increased level of faith as I'm thinking about it is like, well, how much faith do you need for real?
Mm.
But
Faith of a mustard seed, but not keep going. I'm just
absolutely.
throwing that out there.
But I guess it's interesting because I guess increased level of faith to me just implies the fact that there probably are areas were areas um, where I was struggling with having faith in.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can replace the fear or the doubt or the anxiety with having faith, then there would be an increased level of faith. Like I would have now an increased level of faith.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess it's like, is I don't want to say like, because like you just said, I mean, faith of a mustard seed, but do we really need to continue to grow our faith, or is what you have enough to literally pursue the thing that you're trying to do?
I mean, not to just answer it like, like it's not a thought for everybody. So this is for all of us to consider. But this is my thought in this moment right now. Um, Faith the size of a mustard seed, I feel like is what it takes, as the word, the Bible expresses, even I would say explains what faith even is and the power of it. But I would say faith that we have right now is enough. But as it's like momentum, as you get going, once you step into that faith, once you choose to live by that faith, once you choose to operate in that faith, which to me means like, you're no longer considering the what if. You say, I believe, and you go for whatever it is that you're putting your faith into,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um, but I think with momentum, not just as everything goes your way, but as you just every day choose to have that same faith, I feel like that is momentum that grows. Like,
Yeah.
and in that same way, I guess you could say it's like a snowball effect. And I feel like I used this example before, maybe on podcast episode 1, 2, or 3, but
Mm-hmm.
but the snowball thing just it growing, it gets bigger and bigger, and I don't know. So with that, it's like I said, the same as momentum. And no, it's not going to continue to be the size of a mustard seed. Like it will grow.
Yeah.
But what you have right now is enough to get to that point of growth
Yeah.
as long as you
Mm-hmm.
continue to choose that faith. But if you were to choose it today and then you say, I don't choose that faith anymore. I mean, how can it grow? You
Yeah.
know, it's like developing your muscles or your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to put it to use or put it to work, be intentional, and then it grows. Your understanding grows. But I'm a bad guy.
No, you're good. I mean, I glad I'm. Excuse me.
Sorry, a week off.
I'm glad you said that. Because I mean, it's just something I really want the listeners to hear.
Yeah.
And just knowing that, like you said, what we have is enough, and believing in that and holding on to that.
Yeah.
That way, even if it is the size of a mustard seed, we're cultivating it, we're tending to it so that it can grow.
Mm-hmm.
And even as what we're doing or whatever situation or circumstance that we are in,
That's good.
why jump in, tell me.
I mean, because you're saying cultivating that seed or cultivating that faith that's the size of that seed. Like, you can only even have reason to cultivate it if you continue to choose it. It's like I said before, it's not that it's going to be perfect just because you have faith,
Yeah.
but you have the opportunity to cultivate it by choosing to have faith. But that's what I heard out of what you just said.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I'm about to start screaming.
It's late. I'm dead.
But that's exactly my point.
Yeah.
By choosing it in, you know, these moments that we're presented with is really important because, again, as just these situations continue to unfold, or you don't know what you'll be
Mm-hmm.
faced with in the
Mm-hmm.
pursuit of what you are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Or having faith for.
yeah. And while you're on this journey, but because of the fact that things will come up or things will test you,
Yeah.
um, it's just by us being aware of even knowing, well, if I have just a little bit and I stay focused on that,
Yeah.
um, that it can grow. So that's why I kind of said earlier, well, it's interesting, like, okay, having an increased level of faith,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's just literally like cultivating it,
Yeah.
um, so that it did take away or drown it out the elements that do not align with what it looks like to have faith or like believe in,
Yeah.
what you're doing. And I really like that because as we do cultivate that, it should start to pour over into the different elements of our lives.
Yeah.
Like one of the main things always being like, what's our language surrounding, the situations that we're faced with.
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly, I mean the cultivating point is necessary, but like I don't know. At a certain point, you do just have to realize like it's a principle, as far as like having faith, or there are principles, I guess you could say, that go with what it means to have faith. Like there are things that you need to do, or things that if you do these things, you can expect, certain things, or if you don't, the same is true. You cannot expect certain things. But I say that to say, so it's like having faith, like it's almost something that you don't need to question once you understand that it is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
like it's not, well, you can have faith and like it not work. Like, no, it's a principle. It works. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I do believe like, there are kind of different types of faith in a sense, but I would even more so say you could use your faith for different things. Like, one person might use their faith only for to get stuff, quote unquote, or
Mhm.
to get what they want. But another person might use their faith for like their life. You know what I mean? Like they walk with that faith.
Yeah.
And those are kind of two different things. Like one is more superficial, one
Mhm.
is more, there's more depth to it. There's more purpose in it. It's not just used for selfish,
Yeah.
reasons. But at the end of the day, faith is like, yeah, if the Bible even compares it to the likeness of a seed or a mustard seed as far as how much is necessary. But even the fact that they, whoever wrote that and it
Mhm.
being inspired by God chose to use a seed to represent it. Like we already know, like you plant seeds, they grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like we know that to be true on any level. It's a principle, like
Yeah.
a baby is born because a seed was planted and it grew.
Yeah.
And like you said, like the baby grew in an environment where the seed cultivated, was cultivated and grew into a
Mhm.
baby eventually that was born. And, by the grace of God, and if that environment wasn't healthy, by the grace of God, he made sure that, maybe whatever needed to happen could happen, even if it ends up in like a person needing to be healed because they did have to go through, maybe things that it wasn't the right cultivating space.
Yeah.
But the same thing is true with using our faith in life. Like you could have faith and like the environment not be right and it appear like your faith is not working, but
Mhm.
you gotta believe like that it is. You can't look at just the environment, it's just not the right place maybe for whatever that seed was to grow into what you thought it might be necessary to grow into. But that doesn't mean like the faith in and of itself is not still growing. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? If you allow God to just continue to like lead you and show you what that means. And I would say even more so, I don't just want to say God, like, you know, that's how maybe I would describe it. But I think even if we use the word allow your faith to lead you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think because that's the key. Like, you really do have to define what faith means to you.
Yeah.
Understand that for yourself. If you don't, nobody else can just tell you, like,
Yeah.
oh, just have faith. Like, it's at that point, it's just cliche.
Yeah, for
But my
sure.
bad. I forgot. I'm not by myself this
No,
week.
it's okay. You're saying some really good
But,
stuff.
but yeah, but that's just sidebar.
I was enjoying it.
So
um, but yeah, I mean, to your point, cultivating it in the environment, um, going back to that being key as well, because obviously we do have to look at the analogy of, in this case, a seed that definitely has to grow and develop its roots
yeah,
first. And that starts underground. And even while all of that is taking place, I mean, the seasons are still changing,
yeah,
even while the roots are developing underneath.
yeah,
So it's funny how, like, again, with the seasons changing, you don't even realize how the roots are developing. So now when it finally sprouts above ground,
Mm-hmm.
you're so grounded and ready for the different seasons because little do you know, like you are already being prepared
Yeah.
in that way. So um this again, I guess in my mind too, I bring up these different elements just being indicators of how we can even test our faith
Yeah.
ourselves. Like I said before, our language, like what does that even look like towards our situations or our circumstances,
Yeah. That's true.
um, and what's coming out of our mouth? Because that in and of itself, I mean, is definitely a huge factor in what we even believe the outcome can be or like what state of mind we're even in.
Yeah. I mean, so just going back, I had another revelation about faith and the seed element of it. Like, for example, faith of a mustard seed, like, or faith, I might be butchering the scripture, but the size of a mustard seed, or even if it's of, meaning comparing it to a mustard seed, it's like a seed. I guess the comparison is so crazy because it's like a seed, almost like a seed is faith. Like a seed doesn't have to decide anything; it just is.
Yeah.
So if you have faith of a mustard seed, like if you have faith of a seed, like
Mm-hmm.
you're no longer, you don't waver about what it
Yeah.
is. You're not, one day you got faith and one day you don't. Like a seed chooses to, every time it's gonna choose to like grow and roots are gonna come and it's gonna, like you said, like, take hold of the ground or whatever it needs to do to be strong in every season so it can grow.
Yeah.
Like, and if we take that same approach, like it's inevitable that our, faith will grow,
Yeah.
and things will happen. Like you'll see what happens when you grow through different seasons,
Mm-hmm.
but maintain that same like belief,
Yeah.
and that same focus, that same purpose. So that was one thought. And then, you keep mentioning just our language. And I guess that's another thing. Like a seed doesn't, I mean, you probably can talk to a seed and it probably hear you, but
There might be some studies on that.
there definitely are. I didn't make that up, but I think, a seed nonetheless, like it's just quote unquote programmed to do that.
Yeah.
But it's like in the same sense, we got to program ourselves to like the
Mm-hmm.
language, like you said, is how you gonna walk around and expect to have any level of faith, that is gonna be any larger than a mustard seed, but the words you speak are not in alignment with that.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, your language does need to be that of like, a seed knows its intention or its purpose is to grow into something much larger than where it currently is.
Ooh, I like that.
And something that bears many multiple, forms of what
Mm-hmm.
it is, but for the purpose of becoming something that is basically fruit bearing. Like it's not just
Yeah.
to produce more seeds. Like, yeah, seeds, but seeds that produce more like fruit,
Yeah.
you know. So in the same sense, like, we are sent here to produce fruit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, so our words should be like we should be speaking that to ourselves.
Like water.
What do you mean?
Our words are like water
Oh, true. But
to
I thought you saying
ourselves.
like water reproduces.
Oh no. I just mean,
Because earlier you
taking
said
what I said earlier.
you were talking about science. So I'm learning now. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm just saying our words are
But
refreshers.
I get you. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Like how water does with the seed, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's good.
So,
And that's why we use our words in each other's favor too, in the same way. Water each
exactly.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, so what do you think? Like, what level of faith do you have, listeners? I'm asking myself. I'm asking us too. to ask ourselves what we think. But yeah, like what level do you think your faith is at? Like, are you at, the beginning stages, faith of a mustard seed? If so, just know that that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Or have you been, going strong with your faith and you've seen it grow and you have, witnessed in your own life, like the power of just, I say the power of simply believing, but not only just that, but knowing what you're believing in. Even if you started in the beginning and you didn't know exactly what or to what extent, but you just knew you needed to have faith.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't really matter where you started, but what level are you at? You know, and don't diminish, maybe what you feel or think about yourself based on that level. But if anything, just be empowered to know that it doesn't really matter what level you're at. Like the goal is to just continue to have faith and know that it's based in principle. It's gonna, you know, I would say reproduce itself, especially if your faith is strong, you know,
Absolutely.
like
And
meaning it's based in something real.
mm-hmm. And your role is one of your roles is to make sure that you're cultivating it, and you can do that with your words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. And it's necessary. So I guess in reverse order, because we kind of skipped over in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but how are you feeling today?
Um.
You didn't skip over, but we went back and then we didn't come back to it. So we'll do it last.
Yeah. You like how I got right into it since.
Yeah,
All right. Um.
it was good. It
I am doing
was quick.
well. I'm good. I am in the mode of applying of applying what we just spoke about
Tonight,
tonight,
today for somebody.
and that's what's keeping me encouraged. So I guess I'm feeling encouraged
It's good.
and feeling strong. I know I'm strong. So yeah, I want to, you know, I want to become, um, and so I'm really doing my best to stay focused on that so that I can grow.
That's good.
And then we'll see if they say my flower is cute.
True. That's good. Um, that is good. Um, so you don't have to ask me again. You already asked me first. So, um, but I feel good as well. I think I'm a little sleepy, but at the same time, I do feel like you said, based on what we just talked about, like faith is very energizing. I feel like it gives you a lot to look forward to, and it also, in a way, prepares you for what is maybe considered the unknown, but like some would say the inevitable. But I would say like faith is probably the ultimate preparer. Like it's gonna prepare you,
Yeah.
and it's gonna help you prepare. And even in the middle, you might be in the midst of something brand new, and still, like in the moment, it even prepares you, like moment to moment.
Yeah.
And I feel like that excites me. So that's kind of a feeling of mine as well. So it's kind of cool answering this after we had this conversation. But even before, we started, I would say, my outlook, your faith is definitely going to be tested. And I would say mine has been tested, I mean, probably many times, but um, even more so recently, just, forces you to really look in the mirror, whether it's a real mirror or even close your eyes and just think like,
Mm-hmm.
and you're faced with choosing again. Like, am I gonna believe? Am I gonna continue to believe and have faith, or
Yeah.
am I gonna worry, or am I gonna, quit, or am I gonna go a different direction? It doesn't mean just because you worry or just because you ever quit or go a different direction, like you can't still walk by faith or believe in something. But,
Yeah.
I think not having faith is a lot easier to do that than when you have faith. When you have faith, it's a lot more meaningful and purposeful to continue to push forward. So that's kind of like what my sentiments are,
Yeah.
in this current time, climate, moment.
I feel that.
So yeah, hopefully I grow into some type of tree. But yeah, power to the people.
Yep, yep.
It's time to sign off.
All right. Thank you all for listening.
Great to have you back.
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
So
You want to give a thank you to the
I was
listeners?
just gonna say, so we look forward to, doing it again. But hopefully they got something out of it. Hopefully I got something out of it. Leave something in the comments.
Yep.
Anything. Thumbs up. It don't matter. A thought, a question. If we see a question, we're gonna definitely answer it on the podcast. That'll be cool. But
Yeah, for sure.
even if you don't type it out, if you got a question, write it down. Think about it for yourself, maybe, and try to see if God can show you the answer. Have faith that He will.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right, y'all.
peace.
Peace.